the way that the world is today, there's so many labels, so many titles, so many names. You don't know who you are. You know what I'm saying? That's why, like, I tell my wife, I'm just Sharie, because you know, one day I might feel like this one over here. The next day I might feel like that over there. So just call me Sharie. Okay, not no they, them, other, none of that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just us helping people discover themselves, who they are.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Queerly Blax Show. I'm your host, Ashley, and I'm so happy you came by. The Queerly Blax Show aims to normalize the everyday existence of Black LGBTQIA+ individuals through an interview-style series with regular folks like you and me. So every week, a new guest shares their story and unique perspective on their existence as an LGBTQIA+ individual. Thank you for tuning in, and make sure you subscribe, download, set your reminders to the podcast so you never miss an episode. Enjoy the show. Welcome back to another episode of the Queerly Blax Show. I'm your host, Ashley. I'm joined today by a very special guest. Sharie Lawrence is in the building, one half of the Lawrence life. Sharie, tell the people about yourself.
Well, a little bit about myself is I'm a new author. I just wrote my book, Love and Lies, Damaged But Not Broken. Check that out. And I'm sure we'll get more into that, you know, throughout this interview. And also I'm the CEO of Lawrence Life LLC with my wife, where we are, you know, into relationship and identity coaching. We also have a podcast out, you know, every bi-weekly. So we just out here doing what we can to help the community. I mean, you know, the entire community, because we don't just base our business and, you know, things that we're trying to do just with the LBGT community. We believe in bridging the gap between the sexual orientation period. So, yeah, and we also have our clothing line that we're planning on launching this week, tomorrow. Evolution of Love, you know, the t-shirts and stuff. So, you know, y'all will be seeing more of that too. So, yeah, right now, those are the things that we have going on. Yeah.
Yes. Definitely out here grinding. Okay. Out here grinding. So y'all I know you just had your birthday, y'all had an anniversary, launched the book, moving around. Yes. Which is great, because you know what? Look, that's what it's all about, right? Is getting to the grind. But you know how we do over here. We got to go back to the beginning. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, today, you know, you're a CEO, owner of multiple businesses, you know, in a very healthy, very public relationship. But it ain't start like that.
Right.
So we're going to go back to the beginning. We're going to show the journey, help some people, hopefully get to that place themselves, and show them that, you know, look, you can start from wherever and you could get to the top, right? So let's start at the beginning, right? So let's go all the way back. We're going to talk about the book. Obviously, the book just came out. It's a very, 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 very transparent book. Love and Lies, like you said, Damaged But Not Broken. You're very transparent. You talk a lot about, you know, your journey going all the way back. And one of the first questions I ask everybody is, when was the first encounter with your sexuality? I know the answer because I read the book. Y'all got to read the book. But let's just give them a little sprinkling of how transparent you really get in this book.
Man, like, it's crazy because it's tricky. You know what I'm saying? Because my first encounter wasn't the right encounter. You understand what I'm saying? Which I later learned that I was being molested by this female that was a family member. But during that time, at the age of, I believe I was like 13, 14, I wanted it because I've always been attracted to women. And it was something that I desired, that I wanted. So when it was presented, I was like, yeah, you know, I almost lost my mind. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so that was my first, like, as far as with the same sex, sexual encounter. And, you know, I've always go all the way back, you know, I'm sure you probably read it in the book, you know, at, you know,
about 7,
at the age 5, you know what I'm saying? praying that I wake up a boy. Like, I've just always had that strong desire for females. So yeah, I was pretty young when I got involved with that.
Yeah, but you definitely talk a lot about just, obviously being really close with your dad when you were young, and, playing ball, and, making that comparison, or when you finally were able to understand that, like, you wanted to be a boy, like you loved all things masculine, and like, just kind of that beginning of self-discovery. Like,
Right.
talk about that for you in your early years.
Yeah, it's crazy because, at Christmas time, it was me and my cousins. We all went to my grandmother's house, and, Santa Claus, of course. So around about 1 o'clock in the morning, they call us all out. They had our different sections. I never went to my section. I always went to my cousin that was a boy, went to his section, wanted to play with his toys. I've just always been drawn to masculine things, and I
You
don't
went
know.
with the Barbie dolls, and
You know what I'm
you was
saying?
like, where the Legos, where the
want
trucks
strawberry
at?
shortcake. Like, I don't want none of that.
Yeah.
Give me the racing car track. You know what I'm saying? The
No
remote
easy
control
bake
car.
ovens.
Like,
nah.
Now, I did like the easy bake ovens because I
Okay.
love to eat and I love sweets. So,
Yeah.
that was a little different. Like, give me my oven. But other than that, man, I was drawn to that. My dad, he talks about it a lot because I was his first child. So he's like, oh man, it was probably me, but that is where I found my joy. Like, I love playing basketball, football. I used to stand 5, 6 years old, stand outside and watch the guys go and break dance. Back then they were break dancing and stuff on the cardboard, and I used to watch that and want to do that. I was not into nothing girly at all. So it goes all the way back. Yeah.
So when did you have your first girlfriend?
I had my very, very first girlfriend. I was in the 8th grade. But nothing really happened. It's just, just play,
The first time you, like, the little,
I call it my
do you want to be my girlfriend? Yes or no?
Yeah,
that kind of situation. Yeah, where you officially call it like your girlfriend. 13.
Exactly. And it's crazy because she was the girl that was dating my ex-boyfriend when we came back to school from the summer. So I took her from him. Like, all right.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
It's a cold game out here.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So then for you, I know you talk about, obviously when you're growing up and you're, in a religious family, and how hard that is, right? A lot of us deal with that. And dating, like, kind of back and forth, like the men and women trying to figure that out, right? Because you're trying to please your family, but then also make yourself happy. When did you ultimately decide, you know what, I'm gonna just be myself, and I'm just gonna date women and go forth?
You know what? It's crazy because the way that it all happened, I've always been a tomboy. Dressed that way. Even I was in the 6th grade when my mom was like, you can pick out your own clothes. So immediately I went to the boys section. And it was kind of easy back then because, we had Queen Latifah, MC Light. They were wearing the baggy clothes, the boy clothes. So it was,
acceptable for a girl to wear, like,
Yeah. So that was the first thing I started doing, wearing the clothes. It was really hard for me to not be myself. You know what I'm saying? So I always acted that way. They would be like, oh, this little boy over here, you ought to have him as your boyfriend. He's so nice. He's so cute. I'm like, nah. Because in my mind, I'm like, shoot, he gay too. Like, like, nah, that ain't it. So right. It was, I've always just been myself. And when my mother found out, because she became suspicious around about the time, I think I was like 16, she became suspicious. And I guess while I was in school, she just went hunting in my room and found letters up under my bed to my girlfriend at the time. And
multiple letters.
Didn't deny it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I couldn't deny it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I ain't deny it. So it just went from that to them saying, oh, it's a phase. You're just going through a
What was in
phase.
these letters? Was it telling them how cute
Let
they
me tell you.
was, or was this like,
Let me
was
tell you
this like
something.
undeniable letters? Like, were these like, man,
Oh,
like,
yeah,
it's
you can't
giving very
deny it.
much my daughter like girls.
I mean, come on, you got to think about the R&B groups that
Oh
was out back in
yeah.
the day.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought I was a little Prince Charming, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So the things I was putting in the letter, there's absolutely no way
Mm-hmm.
I could be like, nah, that's just my friend. What? Nah,
Mm-hmm.
nah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it is what it is.
yeah,
And from that point on, that was it, you know?
yeah. So, how hard was it for you to write this book?
Oh, man, hard. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it took me places that I hadn't went to in a long time. Um, I had I actually had an emotional breakdown. I had to take a month off before I could go back and finish it. And it was, basically God, my wife, and my therapist that helped get me through and really push through to finish it because I was determined to finish it. Like I had started, I think I had got like past maybe chapter 3 or chapter 4. And I was like, I can't do it, because I did experience drawback, Uh, I'm having problems right now with my family. There are certain members in my family that don't support it, don't like it, and it's different,
Yeah.
because I've always been a pleaser. So
Mhm.
it is different. And it was really hard. It was really hard. But I was determined to get my story out there just to help others,
Yeah.
to push them, be yourself, get your story out there. Like that was a way of me using my voice. So
Yeah.
it was hard though. It was
Yeah.
hard. Yeah.
As you wrote it, did you tell like because you obviously talk a lot about you talk about your family very specifically, like you talk about your grandparents, your parents, different things that went on in your home, all this stuff. Did you tell people that they were going to be in the book, or did it like kind of as you wrote it, you like decided who you might want to share with and who you didn't? Or was it kind of a blanket, like, I'm writing this book, I'm going to include, you in the process?
Yeah, well, no, my wife, she's a publisher.
Mm-hmm.
So she makes it very clear, if you're gonna write a book, it's good to tell, let people know if they're gonna be in it or what
Mm-hmm.
if especially if it's gonna affect them in some type of way. So with me, I really didn't have to say too much. With my father, when we had a conversation with him, he was like, I told him I was writing a book about things I experienced as a child. He already knew,
Mm-hmm.
He said, well, baby, write your story, tell the truth. I know I'm not that person anymore. I know what I did. I support you. And unfortunately, on the other side of things, it didn't go too well.
Mm-hmm.
With my mother, I didn't even tell her. Actually, I didn't tell her. I was experiencing anxiety while I was writing the book. So I had to go to the doctor and had an appointment with my physician, and she prescribed me anxiety medication because I was really going through writing this book. And I had a conversation with my mother that day. And you know how it is when you talk to family or anybody, and you be like, I'm having anxiety, I'm going through things. The first thing they think, something ain't right in the house. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like,
You like,
nah.
nah,
Like,
actually.
nah, that ain't it. I said, I'm actually writing a book about my story, my life. That was it. She was like, I don't agree. You shouldn't put your family out there. You shouldn't do it. I'm not gonna support it. And from that point on, she haven't supported at all. So it was a lot, but yeah, I did, try to have those conversations.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I mean, it's it's unfortunate that, like, that's people don't want you to tell your own truth because of what it makes them look like. But
That's hard.
the reality is, we got to heal, right? We got to get past that, break those generational curses, and, you know, tell the truth. There's one quote that you have in here, and I think like there's the last piece of the sentence. I feel like so many different people can insert something else right there, and it's still true. And I'm gonna read it to you. It says, I had so much unrecognizable rage built up inside of me between the violence, infidelity, and molestation. I was destined for failed relationships. However, I desired a girlfriend, right? And I like that because, for one, it's obviously a recognition of self-reflection. You're clearly like, I recognize what's happening, but I know that I want something else, right? And that's such an important place to be for people, because all of us experience that in some way, right? Like, let's use college, for example. My parents didn't go to college, but I knew I wanted to go.
Right.
Like, I grew up in the ghetto. I don't have any money, but I want to go to college.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So like that process of like, here's where I am, but here's where I want to be. But one thing that was unique was you'd immediately said I was destined for failed relationships because of all of this, all of my past, right? But like that acknowledgement, I think, is so critical because it's an acknowledgement of where you've been. You're like, I have never seen a positive example of this, but I know that I want it. And then you go on in the book to talk about all these relationships. So from your experience, like, what are some of the key things people can take away from like that journey of like, I know this is my past, this is my history, this is where I've been, but I know I desire this thing, but I don't know necessarily how to get there. What are some of those keys to that process?
I think at the end of the day, to me, the key to that process is God.
Amen.
Because wherever we're destined to be, whatever we're destined to learn, He's going to take us through each cycle, each, path, and we're going to learn something. If not, we're going to keep repeating it over and over and over again until we get it. So I just believe that, anything that anyone is going through, if it's a certain destination, a certain end point that you want to get to, man, I'm learning to get big on prayer, for Him to guide me in a direction that He wants me to go as well. Because a lot of times we can say we want this, but He knows too. So it's just take your time to get there. Don't rush. Just take your time to get there. Take care of yourself. Understand yourself. Know yourself. And I feel like when you know that you know that you know, you'll be pointing in the right direction and you can get to your destiny.
Yeah, for sure. And you definitely, share a lot about your current, your marriage right now, your current relationship. And, you and Carla are definitely a public couple, very much transparent, give great relationship advice and all those things. You talk about in the book, the beginnings of y'all's relationship and how you knew it was different, right? And like, what was that initial experience, of knowing like this is different. This is given very much my forever.
Yeah, it was given my forever, but you grinning. I was like, oh. I was like, are you sure? Woo, she was a beast. Yeah. But nah, it was just like that feeling.
Take me back. December 2015. December 2015. You see Carla.
I see Carla. Now, mind you, years ago, I had flirted with Carla in the mall.
06.
Okay? Yeah. Okay. So I flirted with her years ago. And then, like I tell everybody, this story is crazy because in 06, I flirted with her. A few years later, while I was working it, the girl had a magazine where Carla was on the cover of a local magazine. And she was like, you know this girl? And I was like, yeah, By then, she was in the ministry. I was like, well, a little bit too late now. So, and
got to go up in the church to find her now.
You know what I'm saying? I was like, well, Dad, what happened? So So then I ended up befriending somebody that she was close with. And it was crazy because that day that I saw her, you know, I was like, she's still pretty, you know what I'm saying? That smile, always something about her smile. Even to this day, her smile just do something to me. So after that night, man, we talked for like 3 hours that night. And I totally respect, you know, where she was coming from. You know, she was going through her spiritual battles or whatever. But I respected that. You know, I was like, I can be your friend. Maybe you can help me get a closer relationship with God, you know. And I'm getting there now, 6 years later. I be playing with her. I'm like, I'm finally getting there, baby. That was what you were supposed to do initially. But nah, it was like after that moment, we did not separate. Like after that night, every single day, we were together. And I knew probably like a week later, I was leaving her house and I looked at her and she looked at me. And I had this strong feeling come over me. It was like, this is your forever right here. And I'm like, no, God, no. No.
Right.
Like, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I wanna break that down just a little bit, because one thing I like to talk about is so Carla she went through her own healing journey, right? And you was like, oh, you go ahead, you good, go ahead, do that healing thing. We good on this side, right?
Right,
when you
right.
finish, you know what I'm saying? I'll be here.
Holla.
Right.
Right.
But then you learned through her healing and growing, you was like, oh, wait, maybe I need to be doing this with you, right? And how you were challenged by your person to be better, and how you took the call. You was like, okay, this is what I have to do because this is what I want. But that was hard, right? Like, talk about that process for you of like saying, okay, I'm not healed. I'm not who I thought I was. I do need to, address myself so that I can be the best person in my relationship. Because you can still exist in your relationship, but you'll just still be, whatever it is that you still have going on, but you won't be a better version. But talk about that process of recognizing that you needed to heal, and then recognizing that you needed to go to therapy and do your own process to be the better version of yourself.
Yeah, man, it took me a few years, like for real. Because I always felt like, I used to feel like it was her. Like, something is wrong with her. Like, she just emotional and everything, you know what I'm saying? So it was never anything wrong with me. Like, because I was the relationship expert, okay? So in my mind. So, I felt like for a long time it was her, until she started her healing journey. And I really started to see change in her and her reactions different. She's reacting differently about stuff, or she ain't even paying me no mind, as opposed to before it'd be a war. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, I might need to check myself, like I might need to check myself. And she will always say, when we would have like issues or things going on, she will always say, I'm tired of the same cycle. I'm tired of the same cycle, and at first I really didn't pay any attention to that, because I'm like, you creating a cycle. But when I really started to listen and started to see the change in her, and realized that she was growing tired of the same cycle, it's like, okay, I need to get myself together. I need to, whatever might be going on with me, because, I'm like, I don't know, but I need to get myself together and see, So that was, pretty much what led to me agreeing to, get into therapy and do what I got to do to become a healthier me, so that we can become a healthier us.
Yeah. And then you guys got married last year, right?
Yeah.
21?
Yeah, I did. Married the love of my life.
Just celebrated your anniversary.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Going strong.
Nice.
Yeah. And you have a business together. online. Lawrence Life kind of umbrella. Talk a little bit about just, some of your current endeavors. I know you just recently lost a podcast. What's some of the things people can expect from the podcast?
Man, real talk. We believe in being transparent. We believe in having those real conversations, dealing with relationships, mental health, because we've been there. There was a point in our relationship where we were toxic, so we feel like we can really give the audience good advice on, how to become a healthier dynamic, you know what I'm saying? Because that's the leading thing right there. That's the most important thing, making sure that your relationship is healthy. And outside the podcast, we got, like I said, the Evolution of Love t-shirts. We'll be launching that tomorrow. So check that out. And pretty much Evolution of Love is just evolving in love. We're really big on love because we've been through so much. Mm-hmm. So Lawrence Life is centered around all things love. We also relationship and identity coaching to help couples that are going through in their relationships, and even individuals that's going through with their trying to figure out their identity, especially so in
single
the world
people,
like
single people who would desire to be in a relationship.
Yeah. And then, the way that the world is today, there's so many labels, so many titles, so many names. You don't know who you are. You know what I'm saying? That's why, I tell my wife, I'm just Sharie, because one day I might feel like this one over here. The next day I might feel like that over there. So just call me Sharie. Okay, not no they, them, other, none of that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just us helping people discover themselves, who they are individually and collectively in a relationship. So that's pretty much the basis of Lawrence Life.
Yeah, and then almost every day, y'all give a nice little piece of relationship advice on Instagram, TikTok. How'd y'all get started doing that? That was just it looked like, I think, just like regular conversations that y'all probably had. It looks very similar to how me and my wife would just be sitting there talking, and one of y'all would say something and be like, man, that was so good.
Right.
That's how I started.
Right, man. I'm gonna tell you, when we started TikTok, it was around June, July last year. We started out with, all of the trends. Okay. However, neither one of us are that great at dancing or that great at learning lines. So we would do 100 takes for one little 15-second video. Okay. So over the course, we started to realize that, we can be funny and have great content without all of that. You know what I'm saying? And just one day, out of the blue, I think I had said something, and she was like, wait, hold on, what you say? And she recorded me, and that just started. That became the thing. If I get ready to say something, she's like, hold on, what you say that again. So yeah, man, I'm telling you, but I love it because I be for real. I really do be for real.
And some of the clips you be still you had that stream of consciousness, you'll still be looking off, you still delivering that joint,
I'm telling
in that moment.
I be real, for real. So it's real life stuff. That goes on, even when we have, conversations about relationships. It's real life stuff. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man.
Yeah. No, that's dope. Yeah, man. Well, for sure, obviously y'all doing y'all thing. I'm a big supporter of y'all platform. So I'll always show love.
Thanks.
I got 2 more questions for you.
Uh-oh.
Question number 1 is, if you had a theme song for your life, what would it be?
Theme song for my life, it would be I Never Would Have Made It by Marvin Sapp.
Classic.
Yeah, I love that song. I can hear that song today and I'd be about to cry. You know what I'm saying? Because
real talk.
That, there have been a lot of times in my life where I wanted to just, give up, whether it be just, man, I can't take, I'm gonna quit this job, or man, I can't take, I'm gonna leave this relationship, or man, I'm done. But, when I hear that, I don't know, it's like, I know God is right there and he got me. So yeah, I never would have made it.
That's a
That's
good
it.
one. That's a good one. And if you had one piece of advice for somebody who went through any level of what you went through, what would it be?
Heal. Get your healing, because it's so hard to move forward and experience real happiness and true love. And it's even harder to receive it because you still have the pain from what happened before. The trauma creates triggers, and it's hard to allow others to love you. So heal, number one.
Absolutely. That's an amazing piece of advice. Tell the people where they can find you at.
Yeah, well, you can find me on Instagram, Lawrence Life, Lawrence_Life 521. TikTok, of course, Lawrence Life. Is that underscore, baby? Okay, I'm look, she the one that be handling all the business, okay? So, and we're also on Facebook too, Lawrence Life 521. So hey, check us out, man.
For sure, for sure. Well, thank you so much, Sharie, for coming through, sharing your story, being transparent. We definitely appreciate you on the platform. And y'all already know, man, this is another episode of the Queerly Blax Show. I'm your host, Ashley. I'll catch y'all on the next one.